Okay, ply lining. So what we have here is the original panels that were in the van. Now, I'm a great believer in reusing what you can, and I will be reusing this as well as any other panels that I can, you know. There's no massive holes in this, there's no gouges. It needs a clean up, but yeah. So I will be using the ply panels, reusing the ply panels where I can. So first off, I've offered up the panel and had a check around and see if there's any sort of discrepancies that I need to work with. What I can then do is take the panel back out, adjust where it needs to so the panel is sitting flusher to the van, and then we can get it installed. Always check the length of your screws when applying them into the wall. You don't want them to come out the other side of your van. Okay, that's our first panel in place. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be carpeting over the lot of that instead of having a removable panel. Now we're not too worried about the top here, because I am going to build a locker in here. You know, if we're going to have a unit here, you'll have wasted space up here, so there will be a locker that lives on this wall, and that will work out well for us. I may even do some sort of similar cubby storage into this point as well. So I'm not too worried there'll be some discrepancies here, because it'll all be hidden with the locker, and it'll be the same for this side, I think. You know, we go on about it. We're trying to maximise the storage capabilities of this micro camper. You know, we don't have much room to play with, and we really want to maximise the storage within it, because you don't want to be carrying roof boxes or having trailers or anything. You want to be able to have it all within your camper. So in with the next panel on the other side, what we're going to do is mark out where the cables are coming through, so then we can drill a hole. Mark with an X, and then you can drill it out. You can then put your panel back in, pull your cables through the hole, and then fix your panel to the wall. Okay, so that's both the ply panels in. I cut myself a hole, pull our cables through. Obviously that's going to be under the bed area, so we're not too worried about the size of the hole, but the hole wants to be big enough so if you do need to run any more cables and giving you that flexibility, a bigger hole's better than rather than drilling a 15mm hole and then you're struggling to get cables through, what have you. So in the most part this is sorted, but good progress all the same. As I said, as long as the ply is good, yes it's old, but as long as it's good, I'll happily reuse it. You know, we're in the kind of business of recycling and what have you. You know, I could go and spend another 40 quid on a sheet of ply and what have you, and then cut it out and that. But if it's good enough to use, we'll go with it. So next part of the plan is to get a couple of timbers put in here. I want a timber here and a timber here. That means that when our roof comes up, we've got something to fix to. And at the front, a sort of similar situation. I want a timber that runs onto this beam here that we can fix our face to for our locker, and also something that our ceiling can go to. So we'll get them cut now. Oh, and not forgetting, I will be running a 9mm batten on here, which again gives us something for our roof to live to. So on the ceiling here you can see the red pen marks. This is where I've checked that I've got metal to screw into. So when I put my batten up, I can screw up and know that we're good into the metal. So now we're on to making the battens to go over the rear doors. So now we can break out the table saw and get a chamfer put on those battens to enable our roof to sit flush to them. Okay, so these were cut at a 30-degree angle. So now, when they're placed in, our ceiling board can live on this cut edge. Nice and square, lots of meat to affix a screw. Now we can drill through and get them secured into this metal box. So the batten has been drilled and countersunk. So when you countersink your holes, when you're starting to bury your screw, you've got less chance of it splitting through your wood. So we've got 3 holes here and we're going to fix them now. So pilot drill first, and then we're using a 40mm screw there to fix this batten. Okay, fixed in lovely. That gives us a good base for our ceiling to come onto, and it'll really smarten up this back end once we've got the carpet on it and what have you. And now we need to concentrate on the front end. So we've got our back end complete, we've got our batten through the middle, we've even got fixings to go through our roof here, our roof light. We can still screw the ceiling up into that because there's a fascia to live on it. So now we need a batten that lives in here. And then that's all our ceiling support completed. This front ceiling support here, if I put my batten across this fascia support, I can see that it's ending right where the cab head lining joins the metal. So now I know that when I offer this piece of wood up, I need to take off a few mil of it, and then that will all go in line lovely. Okay, super sturdy. The beauty of this is we can probably get away with putting a one-piece roof in. No joints, which would be lovely. So we've got our back ones affixed, ready to take a roof. Our middles to support also. And our front. We haven't gone right to the end. Not really an issue. We're also going to have fixings down there where your sort of grab handle would be, that will also take the support of the shelf and lock into the face anyway of our locker, so it's not really a problem. What we can also do is run a timber all the way across and fix it up into the corner, and that can be a support if we need to have one for our locker that we're going to make. We'll see how we go. But essentially, for the most part, the structure is there now, ready to go. So I'm really pleased with how that's come out. Okay, now we've got our ply sorted. What we're going to do now is look at the carpet lining. So for as long as I can remember, I've always used Harrison's Trim Supplies carpet lining. This is the 4-way stretch easy liner. It's very tough, very durable. It's a great colour for hiding dirt and other sort of discrepancies, what have you, in your carpet lining. It's a lovely finish, and as I say, I use a lot of it. More so the anthracite than any other colour. I feel it's the best one that gives the sort of slickest finish. Let's have a look at the tools that we're going to be using. So first off, trim fix adhesive. This is Harrison's Trim Supply's own product, Fixer Trim. Any high temp spray glue is much of a muchness for me. It's just relabeled in a different tub, but I get through Fixer Trim and Transporter HQ's version. I use a lot of those. What we also have is these Stanley blades for trimming our edges. I would buy quite a few of these, so I'm maybe getting through probably 600 of these a year. So I get them from B&Q, packs of, I think it's 100 or 200, I can't remember. Cheap enough for what it needs to be. They're kind of a use once thing once you're onto metal. A good pair of scissors. These are Westcott titanium scissors. I think they're 8-inch. I've probably had this particular pair for the last maybe 3 years. I've also got 3 other pairs of them, and some tools to work our carpet if we need to in our different areas. So generally this is what you can get away with when you want a carpet line and deal with any sort of undulations, dips, divots, or whatever you need to work into to get the carpet to go where it needs to, being 4-way stretch. I'll leave a link in description for these products. So there's 1,000,001 videos on YouTube about carpet lining. This is my take on it, and take from it what you will. So your main purpose is to try and get the carpet laying as flat as possible to the ply panel. And once you've hung, you can then trim off all your excesses and then work your finishing touches. Here you can see me using the tool to work into that bulge that comes out from the sliding door area there. It's also a good idea to make relief cuts into the carpet where you need to. This gives it less stress when you're trying to manipulate the carpet to where you want it to go. So what I'm doing here is making sure that both the carpet edges are finishing at the same distance, and I'm also tidying it in to where it can be neatly finished. What this does is allows me to have a nice finish of butt joining the 2 carpets along with that middle strip that's about to be applied. Okay, I'm sorry if that was a bit far away and what have you, but the filming conditions aren't the best. So what I've tried to do, you can't, don't think you can see it. I've tried to marry up these two pieces so they do join without a seam. Sometimes you do have to have this piece that's running across here go further by 10mm and then curl back on itself and create a little bump. But if you can get the two pieces to join together and it's seamless, then it makes for a nicer finish. But that's actually looking good. So now our walls are finished, what we're going to be doing is looking at the ceiling. So the ceiling we're going to make out of one piece and scribe it in where it needs to be, and also sort out all our fittings for our lights, etc. So on with the ceiling, what I'm doing is I'm measuring the length of it and the width of it to be able to cut my applied panel to that size, and we can then cut in and work our way to a finished ceiling from there. Once the cuts are made, we can offer the panel back into the roof of the van. Okay, so our roof is all but up, but obviously I want to finish up here, and we're fouling on this part here. So what I need to do is take out a chunk on both sides and that will allow the board to slide up into the front here. Then we can work out where we're touching in other places to get the roof higher. So there'll probably be a cut out here, something like that. Same for the other side, where we've got our middle beam, and then the roof can go up. Of course then, we'll need to cut a square out for our skylight, but we'll take some measurements and work it out from there. Okay, so we're edging our way into getting closer to closing this gap up. But as we can see now, I'm fouling on this part. So I need to take out maybe a corner like that to allow the board to go in further. Okay, those couple of adjustments made the world of difference. It's got us up real close now. Now I've put the props on. I don't know if you can tell, we've got the dip. We don't want this dip, and this dip is caused by this beam where the brackets or the edges angle down here. So I want to take out probably 20mm on each side, and that will allow the board to go up more and actually reach the ceiling. But otherwise we aren't too bad. I might even take these corners off, just round these corners off a little bit. That might be nicer, but we've actually got a real good fit. And of course, once I have the material, I've then got to consider that, you know, you could have sort of 5mm of material overhang to think about. But yeah, let's get these chopped out and that. Okay, so I've made the cuts for our sort of mid beam in the roof, and also rounded off our ends. Now we can look at the front. So with the skylight, I know the board's finishing at the front here. I can mark it at 160 to be where our roof light starts, which I've done here. So now I know that's the starting point of where our roof light hole will be cut into this board. And as we have that, I can also mark the back end. So if I put the tape measure up and mark it at, say, 53, go back to our board. We can go down to 53. Mark that. So we've now got 2 points for our skylight hole. So now we find the middle of our board. It's 1110 long. So 5550 gives us the middle. And do the same here. We know now that's the middle of our board. We can draw a line and measure out from there. So we're going to go 20 and a half from this point. That's our opening. Okay, so this should be the opening for our skylight. Now, if you're not 100% sure, I will do this as well. You can actually cut it even an inch smaller, you know, and then offer it up into the van and check your measurements. And if you feel like it's going to be okay, carry on. You can always take more out. You can't add back in if you get it wrong. So what I'll do is I'll rough cut a hole, offer it up into the van, make sure that my measurements are okay, adjust anything that needs to be adjusted, and then cut the rest out. So I'll cut out to this line instead of this one, offer it into the van, see how far away we are. Okay, so as we can see, we're looking pretty good. This is my rough cut, and this is what is going to be my main cut, and that will finish perfectly onto our battens, which we can then have our skylight live on. We can even test the skylight a bit now, which I might do with the fascia. Because my only concern is will our hole be too big? I think I might change of plan, bring this in 10mm. It'll still give me what I need, and that'll be fine. But yeah, rough cut first, and then trim up to what you need after. So we've made our cuts. Let's have a look. As you can see, taking this in 10mm more has got us a little closer, because my concern was the lip of our fascia being out inside this, we want our fascia to cover this. So that rough cut made all the difference. Looking pretty good. Right, next up we've got some light fittings to sort, and then we can think about our finish on our roof. Ceiling's looking good. Let's check out lightings. So what I'm going to do is mark out the middle of the board. That will give me something to work off. So I've drawn the centre line. What I'm going to do is space it and put 3 lights here. Then I'll also add lights to the kitchen area and possibly in the lower part of the bed. We'll see how far we go. But now we can measure from there to there. Get ourselves 3 points for 3 lights that go in the back. Okay, so I've marked out for 3 lights. Now let's have a look at the lights we're going to use. My lighting options. So we've got these little tiny ones. I think they'd be quite cool at the bottom of the kitchen, spreading the light across the floor. We've also got these here with a little switch on them. Maybe I could incorporate one of those into the kitchen area somewhere. I've got lots of these. Some of these are touch and some of these are fixed. I'd have to test to see which ones are which. But I've also got these black ones, and I quite like the idea of this. So I think I'll run 3 black ones into our roof. That will tie in quite nicely with what's going on, and it will give us some nice light there as well. So for these lights, I take a 51mm hole saw, and because we've got these prongs on the side which locate them and fix them in, we then need to jigsaw or file out these little recesses to allow our prongs to live in it. So now we've got all our roof cut and prepared, we can now definitely look at what we're going to cover it with. So we've got our curved edges at the back, we've got our light fittings all jigsawed out, and we're using a 51mm hole saw initially. We've got our recesses cut in to take our mid-beam in the roof. We've also got a hole cut for our skylight, and we've also adjusted these corners to suit the profile of the van inside. So this is the material we're going with. It's a kind of suede effect, stretchy material. I get it from Harrison's Trim Supplies, and this will go nice in the van roof with our light fittings, and it will be fixed up with some black screws that or black screw cover cap sort of thing that will finish it off lovely. Let's get it laid on. So this material isn't the worst to work with, but you've got to be a bit careful because of creases and the extra stretch that you get with it compared to carpet lining. So really just take your time, work the material in a methodical way. You know, the material is quite expensive, so you don't really want to have to revisit it if it all goes wrong. Smoothing and working out the creases as you go, and all being well, you should have a lovely finished headlining. So this is the initial lay down done. As you can see, that suede effect coming through. It's always nice. Get a sort of pattern going. Yes. Now we can do our trim up, finish off, cut our holes, and then this panel will be ready to get fitted to the ceiling. Good choice. So we can now work on cutting off all the excess, and we leave around 2 to 3 inches overlap so that we can tuck it around the back of the panel for a nice finish. We do the same when we cut out the holes. That way we can get ourselves a nice finish all the way throughout. Okay, top tip for corners. You see a lot of people chop into it, pulling bits over and what have you. There's an easier way. This works for carpet lining as well as this. Spray up your area. And what you want to do first is pull your middle in. And then pull over your sides. And you're left with these like little ears. And they can be squashed down and chopped off, but what you're left with is a perfect edge. So now we're on to the final fit up. Pleased with the ceiling. Let's have a look. There we go. A nice smooth ceiling. We've got our holes ready. This is cut and trimmed, ready to take the fascia. All being well. We'll see how that goes and that works out. I've got a fear that this is very, very narrow. Probably could be with 10mm more. But we'll come up with a solution, make that look good. I haven't fitted the lights yet and I haven't run the cable. So the lights, obviously they fit into these holes. And then these lights will be in a radial circuit effectively. And then the cable will come down in here and there'll be a light switch into the shelving or storage here. That will switch these lights on. But to be honest, I'm really pleased with how that's come out. Okay, so that's the roof suspended now with a few screws. We've got to take it back down again to do the wiring. I just need to go and collect the wiring. I've just completely run out of 2mm square wiring, which I'll use. So this is all but done. You know, it's not completely done, but it means that we can move on to the floor now and start looking at the solution that we're going to put together to get ourselves a nice solid floor, and then we can get on to the real cool stuff, building units and what have you, and actually making this look like a camper. And I must say, I'm really pleased with how it is. Let us know down below your thoughts on it. Yes, it's very grey, but give it a couple of weeks, a little bit more, and it will look anything but. Well, that's all we got time for this episode. The walls are looking good, the ceiling's looking good. I wanted to get the floor in as well, but we just ran out of time. As always, thanks so much for watching. Do hit the thumbs up, do subscribe down below, and we'll catch you on the next one.